Magnus. That was terrific.
Awesome.
We have 3 more comedians tonight. We have no music, so we can do whatever we want, okay? Yeah. By the way, Donald Trump has sparked quite an outrage by calling on a ban of all Muslims entering the United States because he says they scare everybody. I mean, it'd be much more useful if he focused on things that Americans are actually scared of, like a diet and exercise.
And from every country.
So let's bring up Synnove. Come on, Synnove, come on up so we get all the people up here. We want to make sure you can all get home early without getting into a traffic jam. So we're going to make sure we get this show done on time. What? Okay, Synnove, you're up. You're rolling. It's you. It's all you.
All right. Ole and Sven and Torvald, they were trekking across the Sahara Desert, and they came upon a magician standing on top of a slide. And the magician said, "I know you're thirsty. To quench your thirst, each of you can go down the slide and ask for any drink you'd like. And when you reach the bottom, you'll land in a giant glass of your chosen drink." Ole, he went first, and he yelled beer, and he landed in an ice-cold glass of beer. And Torvald was next, and he yelled lemonade as he went down, and he landed in a glass of lemonade. And then it was Sven's turn, and he went down the slide, and he got excited, and he yelled, "Whee!" Two Norwegians were walking down the street, and one notices a compact on the sidewalk, and he leans down and picks it up. He opens it and looks in the mirror, and he says, "This person looks familiar." And the second Norwegian says, "Here, let me see." And so the first Norwegian hands him the compact, and the second one looks in the mirror and says, "You dummy, it's me." There's a new Norwegian insurance policy. It's called My Fault Insurance. Did you hear about the little Norwegian boy? He had to take off his shoes and drop his pants to count to 21.
No. Oh
my God.
And now I've got something. It's not really a joke. It's a true story. And it takes place kind of down in southern Minnesota. It's a ghost story. There was this out-of-state traveler, and he was on the side of the road hitchhiking on a real dark night in the middle of a thunderstorm, and time passed and no cars went by, and it was raining so hard he could hardly see his hand in front of his face, and suddenly he saw a car moving slowly, approaching, and it appears in the rain, and it slowly and silently crept toward him and stopped. And wanting a ride real bad, he jumped into the car, and he closed the door, and only then did he realize that there was nobody behind the wheel and no sound of an engine to be heard in the rain. And the car crept slowly forward, and the guy was terrified. He was too scared to even think of jumping out and running. And the guy, he saw that the car was approaching a sharp curve, and he was still too scared, and he started to pray and began to beg for his life, and he was sure that this ghost car would go off the road and into a nearby lake, and he would surely drown. But just before the curve, a shadowy figure appeared in the driver's window, and a hand reached in and turned the steering wheel and guided the car safely around the bend. Then, just as silently, the hand disappeared through the window, and the hitchhiker was alone again. And Boy, he was scared. He watched the hand reappear every time they reached a curve, and finally, the guy, scared to near death, had all he could take, and he jumped out of the car and ran into town, into Wilmer, Minnesota. And wet and in shock, he went into a bar, and with his voice shaking, he ordered 2 shots of whiskey, and then he told everybody about his supernatural experience. And a silence came over the bar, and everybody got goosebumps. And when they realized the guy, he was telling the truth, he wasn't just some drunk. And then about a half hour later, 2 guys walked into the bar, and one says to the other, "Look, Ole, there's that idiot that rode in our car when we were pushing it in the rain." And that's all I got for tonight.
Oh, bravo. Thank you so
Nice.
much,
Good.
Julie. Whoa. Don't you
love
love
that
all the
one.
guys? Everybody does comedy in here is terrific. We have such a great week. We just make it happen somehow, right? Yeah.